The Colorado Buffaloes have one final non-conference game before they dive into the thick of Big 12 play. Are they on upset alert? Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Buffs, your daily podcast on the Colorado Buffaloes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Buffs, everybody. My name is Kevin Borba. Today's episode is brought to you by Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is the only beginning. Stay tuned later for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. Mazda, move and be moved. We're also brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day for free and available wherever you get your podcasts. So make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. Like I said, I'm Kevin Borba, host of Locked On Buffs. I also cover all things college football and Colorado for Athlon Sports. I'm going to predict the winner of this Colorado-Wyoming game. I think in most cases, people thought this was just be a blow-by game, but there's a lot more things at stake, I would say, this week than I would say most expected. I'm going to talk about the keys to victory for Colorado, and then I'm going to talk about the players who need to step up in order to fulfill this prophecy of winning this game, right? Because I do think Colorado wins, and I'll just sort of get into my prediction right now. Giving you guys the information, everything you need to know. Colorado is currently 12.5-point favorites. It opened at 13.5, so they kind of went down after the announcement of Caden Salter. I don't know. According to ESPN's FPI, which is the analytics that predict outcomes, the Buffs have an 85.7% chance of winning. Things you need to know about Wyoming. Quarterback Caden Anderson leads the way with 535 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. They have a running back by the name of Sam Scott, who leads the way with 44 carries for 203 yards and a touchdown. And then wide receiver Chris Durr Jr. Is leading the way with 16 catches for 2 touchdowns and 240 yards. I think Colorado wins this game, and I think they cover, right? I think there's been a lot of blowback about what they've done in the weeks before this, and I think it's warranted, right? I do think Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes coaching staff failed the team. Right, they failed the team by not giving Caden Salter a fair shake. And you could say all you want about, he had the opportunity to do this against Georgia Tech. He played decently against Georgia Tech. And then against Delaware, he led them to, I think it was 10 points, right, in his first 2 drives. And then obviously they started rotating. I think they should have rode with Caden Salter for the first 3 games to see what happened. Instead, they created this internal conflict of like what should happen at quarterback. And that led to a lot of chaos. And now we're looking at this Wyoming game like, Is this a trap game? I would say kind of, yeah, right? Like Colorado is very vulnerable. Wyoming is looking to prove that, like, hey, we can replicate what we did against Utah in that first half, right? I think if you look at the final score, if you just box score watch that Utah-Wyoming game, you see the final score was like 31-6, right? But if you pay attention, Wyoming's defense combined with Utah's offense kind of struggling. It was a 3-0 ball game at the half. So it really goes to show you that like this Wyoming team, if you overlook them, they can sort of make things difficult for you. And you don't want to be that team that loses to a group of 5 program. You don't want to be UCLA. You don't want things to get worse than they already are. So I think they win. I think Colorado wins probably 28-10. I think is going to be my final score prediction. I think that Colorado needs this win, right? And I sort of hit on it later, but the amount of kerfuffle, the amount of like, hey, this is changing, that's changing. We don't know what we're doing here. We don't know our identity. Colorado has really not made it easy on themselves this year. And I think teams are going to try to take advantage of that, right? I think teams are going to try to take advantage of how vulnerable this team looks and sounds, because while they seem to have a united front, we all saw the sidelines against Houston. It was dead. They were all just like everyone, after every play, there was fingers being pointed. There was this, that, and the other. And I think this Colorado team really needs a big win. I think forming their identity, I don't know if it's going to be like, okay, this is the revelation we needed. Because again, if Colorado beats Wyoming by 20 points, it's like, okay, is this what we needed? Like, is this going to be the difference between us winning the Big 12 or not? Maybe not, probably not. That being said, they need to sort of figure it out so that way they can, I don't want to say continue, they got to continue to form their identity. I don't want to say it because I don't think it's going to be something that you could form against BYU, against TCU, but I think this is the game where they sort of figure it out a little bit, because if you were to ask 10 people who watch this Colorado team very closely, you would ask them, what do you think this Colorado team is good at? Well, for starters, right now, it doesn't look like they're good at anything. But what do you think their identity is? And I would say, if you ask me, I would say it's kind of the same old Colorado team that pretends to want to run the ball, and then they're just going to try to space everybody out and beat them with the passing game. And I don't think that's their game. I don't think they have the playmakers for that. I think some other people would say, well, it's an RPO system. And it's like, is it though? Because we haven't seen Caden Salter we haven't seen the offense modified to the quarterbacks as we thought it would be, right? So I think Colorado's identity is a question mark. If you can ask someone what their identity is and they can't confidently say, and I don't think anyone in the world right now knows Colorado's identity because Deion Sanders doesn't know it, because Coach Brett Bartolone, who spoke to the media yesterday, said, we don't know it yet, but we need to figure it out, right? Or it was the day before, but whenever. He said, we don't know it and we need to figure it out. And I think that's the larger problem at hand here. And so I think Colorado wins. I don't know if it's going to be pretty. I think there's going to be some ugly-ish moments, but prediction, like you got to win 28-10. And I think you sort of figure it out, kind of. I don't know if they're going to walk away from this game with all the answers to the test, right? The test is Big 12 play. And I unfortunately think, from what it looks like right now, Colorado is starting to study 2 days before the final, is what it feels like. And maybe they're good studiers. We'll find out. Maybe the extension, maybe you get an extension or the class gets canceled or something. The final gets pushed back a week, right? Where it's like, okay, we figure things out. Things have clicked. Now we're ready for Big 12 play. But I'm not really sure that all the answers Colorado has been looking for are going to be given on Saturday. So I think Colorado wins. You guys comment below. Who do you think wins this Colorado game? Is it going to be a Wyoming upset? Because, I mean, a Wyoming upset would be catastrophic for the Buffs. I think that would really throw the season off the rails. Or is it going to be Colorado handling business or a close one by the Buffs? When we come back, I'm going to be talking about the 3 keys for Colorado beating Wyoming on Saturday. But first, a quick break. This episode of Locked on Buffs, it's brought to you by our sponsors over at Mazda. Mazda's moving the game forward for those who believe it. It's not just about playing the game. It's about redefining it. Those are the moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, they move culture, and they keep moving the game forward. So this week's moment that moved the game forward, I think, is Tafiq Bayard coming up with all of these huge tackles, right? He is the guy that I think is I thought he was going to be a leader already. I think he's going to establish himself as a leader for this Colorado defense. So I'm going to go with Tafiq Bayard. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is the only beginning. And just like that, there's more to every highlight. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to every Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. This episode of Locked on Buffs, it's also brought to you by our sponsors over at Wayfair. And let me tell you, we all love Wayfair over here. The weather's cooling down. The days are getting shorter. And that has me wanting to make my home feel even cozier. I just bought this house. We just got a bunch of furniture and we went to Wayfair because why would we not? They have great style, great price. Wayfair is the place to go. Wayfair has everything you need to set the mood for the season, whether it's comfy recliners, warm bedding, autumn decor, or even an espresso machine so you can make your favorite latte at home. Like I said, just bought a house, first-time homeowner, and the expenses start stacking up, right? You're like, oh shoot, we got to pay for the water bill. We got to pay for this. We got to get the TV, all this. We went to Wayfair to set up our home for fall. It's going to be cozy. We're going to have some friends and family over. It's going to be great. So cozify your space with Wayfair's curated collection of easy, affordable fall updates, from comfy recliners to bedding and autumn decor. You'll find it all for way less at wayfair.com. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Welcome back to Locked on Buffs. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow so you don't miss out on a moment of the coverage. Let's talk keys to victory. I think Colorado wins this game. That being said, there's not 100% chance that they win this game, right? There's a chance that Wyoming can sort of figure things out. And so here's the way you prevent that. Wyoming, they aren't they don't have a consistent quarterback, right? Caden Anderson is decent. I would say he's a solid group of 5 quarterback, but he's not at the place yet where they could just count on him to be like, hey, go out there, win us the game, and make some plays. They have a trio of running backs, really, that I think they like to rely on, that they want to run the ball with. I talked about Sam Scott earlier, but it was actually true freshman Samuel Harris who sort of stood out to me the most against Utah. 8 carries for 68 yards and 8.5 yards per carry. Now, a long of 28 as well. They also have Taron Kelman, 9 for 45. He's a junior, Charlotte transfer. And then Sam Scott is a senior. So they have a trio of running backs. I think that I would say right now the blueprint for anyone when they play Colorado is just to run the ball down their throats because they're giving up over 200 yards of rushing offense per game. Now, you can nitpick and be like, oh, well, actually, it's because Haynes King and then Connor Wigman, they had these huge runs and it skewed the number. Colorado's run defense has not been where I thought it would be, or where it needs to be. So let's save it. Colorado's run defense is currently sort of the weakness, right? I would trust Colorado. If you were to ask me as Colorado's defensive coordinator, would you rather a team run the ball 40 times against Colorado or a team throw the ball 40 times against Colorado? Just like game plan wise, I would trust Colorado's corners to make more plays in the pass rush to get to the quarterback more so than I would for the defensive front to stop the run, right? So stopping the run is the key for me. It's Colorado, and also Colorado's missed on almost 30 tackles, right? They're averaging pretty much 10 missed tackles per game. They're at 29 on the year. That's not great, and it's only going to get worse going into Big 12 plays. There's some more elusive, powerful backs on the horizon. Next thing, be better on third down. So Colorado is just converting their 37.2% of the time, which ranks 91st, if I'm not mistaken, in the country. You have to keep drives alive. You have to keep your defense off the field. I do think, and Jordan Dominic, he talked about this on the episode and in our film breakdown, Colorado's defense has to do a better job of getting off the field. That being said, Colorado's offense has to do a better job of keeping them off the field. And too many times last game, Colorado, and even this season in general, it's 3 plays and out, right? These drives where it's just boom, 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 we're punting. And that's, as Jordan said, as a defensive player, that's the worst thing ever because it's like you just sat down and then all of a sudden you're going back on the field. And Colorado has depth, but they don't have enough depth to be on the field for 36 minutes per game like they were against Houston. And as we saw, Houston just wore them down. And I think Georgia Tech did the same thing. Georgia Tech sort of wore that defense down. And it's just one of those things where if you're the offense, 1, sustain drives, 2, help out the defense. You know, it goes hand in hand, right? The offense sustaining drives and scoring points makes everyone's life easier. The offense at least moving the ball a couple times, moving the chains, not punting after 3 plays, that also gives your defense a rest. And you don't want a tired defense going up against a team whose main goal is to be more physical because eventually you will get pushed around and you don't want to get pushed around by Wyoming of all teams. No shot at Wyoming, but I mean, Colorado should really have no chance or no problem beating them. But next thing you really need to do is just let Caden Salter, and to me, this is on Deion Sanders and Pat Shurmur, right? I don't think this is really like the players because they don't make these calls. Let Caden Salter find his groove, right? I don't think the offense has really found its identity, has really found what they like to do, the looks they like, the plays they like, because they keep changing things, right? Let Caden Salter, the Liberty transfer, who I'm sure you paid a handsome dollar to come to Colorado, let him figure things out with these playmakers, right? You can't keep switching, right? If Caden Salter gets benched this game, unless Caden Salter throws 5 interceptions in the first quarter, I need him to play the entire game. I need him to figure things out. I need Pat Shurmur to figure out how to call plays with him. They need to sort of just be like, hey, we made a mistake switching things up. Let's ride this out. Let's see what we can do, right? Because the more you change things, the less of an identity you're going to form, and the more division it causes within the fan base, the locker room, the coaching staff even. And then you bench Caden Salter one more time, and I mean, it's life. Like if he deserves to get benched, he deserves to get benched. We'll see what happens. But You bench Caden Salter one more time, I doubt he's going to, even if it's to rotate quarterbacks like you did, I doubt Caden Salter is going to be dialed in for the rest of the year, right? It's hard to be benched. It's hard when you, well, let's just build off that. It's hard to be benched. It's hard to be benched when you don't feel like you deserve to be benched. And it's even harder to sort of stay interested when you benched and you don't feel like you got a fair shot again. So let Caden Salter cook, I guess, is the third key here. So that'll be my keys. You guys let me know what your key is or keys are for Colorado winning this game. When we come back, we're going to talk about the players and or coaches who need to step up. This episode of Locked On Buffs is brought to you by our sponsors over at Square. Your favorite neighborhood spot runs on Square. There are certain businesses that truly make the neighborhood feel like home, whether it's the local bar spots packed on game days, the coffee shop that knows your order by heart, or the corner deli that's been serving your community for decades. These are the places that bring people together. When neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives. So, Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You go to square.com/lockedoncollege to learn more. But before you do, support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy you did so. Square, see you in the neighborhood. This episode of Locked On Buffs is also brought to you by our sponsors over at DoorDash. It's almost the weekend. It's time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players deliver when it matters most. Let's break it down. For Colorado, I'm going with Tafik Bayard. He delivered in a big way, led the team in tackles as a safety, which normally isn't good, but I think he's just all over the place, can help with the run defense. So when Colorado sort of moves forward and as they figure out their identity on both sides of the ball, I think Tafik Bayard is going to be a big part of that. And just like Tafik Bayard delivered for the Buffs, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays. With DoorDash Streaks, you save every Saturday. You order, stack it up all season, and you could save $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Or this Saturday, keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day, only with DoorDash. Excuse me. Terms apply. Promo period through November 18th. Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. Who needs to step up? It's a very loaded question because I think you can just point a finger at everyone and be like, hey, haven't done enough, right? But I think there's a few answers. There's clear answers to me. For one, I'll start with the coach, Pat Shurmur. Offensively, we just need to see more, right? Whether it's the play calling, whether it's mostly the play calling, the situational stuff, like you have to be better and you have to run the ball more, establish the run like you had pretended like you were going to do all off season. Then as soon as the season starts, you're not running the ball as much as I think a lot of people thought. I think Simeon Price and Michael Welch, if Michael Welch has the hot hand, I think they should combine for like 30 carries, or maybe 40 carries. I don't know. 35 carries would be nice. Not combining for 20, right? I think that Colorado's offense can run the ball when they want to. The problem is they don't ever want to. So Pat Shurmur needs to figure out a way to find that balance, put Caden Salter in prime position to succeed, get the ball in the hands of the playmakers. You have them. You just haven't seen them make those plays that much because the playmaking has been skeptical or suspect at best. Next person who needs to step up. This is more group than a person. I would say the linebackers. The run defense has been atrocious. I don't think Caden Anderson is going to be the most mobile quarterback. I'm not going to pretend like he's not an athlete, but you can't get burnt in the run game as much as Colorado has. And I think that starts with the linebackers, starts with the defensive front. We'll go front seven. We won't sing out the linebackers. Front seven needs to be better at stopping the run, right? You need to show like, hey, we could be more physical. We could be the more physical team. Speaking of who needs to step up, Caden Salter, right? Obviously, they went back to him. I don't think they ever should have went away from him. Caden Salter wasn't at his best against Georgia Tech, and I don't think he was at his best against Delaware. I think we were going to start seeing it, but obviously they did not let him. So, Caden Salter, show them what you're made of. Show them that they never should have benched you. Show them why they brought you in. Show them all the reasons that people are doubting that there's no reason to doubt you, right? I think Caden Salter needs to step up a bit. And then I think this goes for Robert Livingston as a whole. better adjustments or just adjust now. Like we don't need in-game. I mean, you need in-game adjustments, but we need to figure out a way to get this defense going and sustaining. Now, obviously, I talked about this earlier. I laid it out where it's like, hey, it's not always on the defense for giving big plays up when the offense isn't getting them off the field and this isn't happening. But you got to be able to sort of play to your defensive strengths. And I don't know if we're doing that right now if you're Colorado. So those are the people, positions, coaches that need to step up. I also think clock management needs to improve. Deion Sanders, that's on you for the most part. It wasn't terrible against Houston, but it can always be better. Those are who needs to step up, in my opinion. I appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, and I will see you guys tomorrow after the game. I go live. So make sure to hit that subscribe button so we can talk about the game, hopefully a Colorado win. Appreciate you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.